G'day, listeners. How you going? Heff here from the Keeper League podcast. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at the Breakout Tracker, which was released today. So for anyone that hasn't seen the Breakout Tracker before, those people who were members last year will know it quite well. But if you haven't seen it before, basically it's an AFL fantasy resource that allows you to compare any player in the competition to the best players in the competition at the same point in their career. So for an example, I'll use let's use Damon Greaves as an example. So he's played three games and he's got a career average of 88, which is adjusted for BCV, obviously. Now, compared to the top 10 defenders at the same point in their career after 3 games, the combined average of those guys were 64.3. So this gives him a positive differential of 23.7 points. So he's effectively averaging 23.7 points more than the top defenders in the competition after their 3 games. So I hope that makes sense. So I guess the purpose of this, it's not a perfect science, and it doesn't definitely mean that this person is going to be a gun superstar or a gun player. It essentially just means that it just gives you an idea of how they're tracking and if they're on the right track fantasy-wise, and if they look like they've got some potential to be any good. G'day, Zanks, in the chat there. Nice to have you here, mate. Zanks was on the podcast a bit last year, so good to have him on board. Before I get stuck in, I guess I better thank the sponsors there. Thank you, Remedy Kombucha. I say sponsor loosely. We just get free product. But look, they supply us with drinks for the pod. I've got the cherry plum. So this was one last year a lot of people were tweeting me about. And I didn't actually get the chance to try it. So this is the first cherry plum I've ever had. I wish I could move my camera to the left of me. I've got a great wall of kombucha. I was delivered, how many cases are there? Geez, I don't even know. Quick maths, 15 cases of Remedy Kombucha sitting there. So I'm a lucky boy, I guess. Anyway, we'll crack it. We'll give it a tip. Give it a sip. Oh yeah. That's some good stuff. If you like your kombucha, Remedy's definitely the way to go. All right, let's get stuck in. So if you've got any players you want me to look at, post them in the chat and I'll try to get to them if I see them. The chat does sometimes move pretty quick, so apologies if I miss some. But throughout the day, I was tweeted a few players to actually take a look at. So we'll get stuck into some of those tweets and see what these guys bring up. So first tweet of the day. So Dave is needs a Farmers Union iced coffee by the look. He's asking Cam Rayner. So we'll have a look at Cam Rayner first. So what's great about the Breakout Tracker is I can type in the player's name. You can't actually see that on your end, which is a bit annoying. But if you actually have a chance to play around with it, you'll be able to type in names. So let's have a look at Cam Rayner. So that's his Breakout Tracker numbers. Let's compare him to the top 10 forwards overall. So you can see that he is tracking a little bit behind at this point in time. So it doesn't mean, he's not going to improve that average over the next, 40 games or so before he gets to that 100 mark. So, but just at this point in time, he's a little bit behind. But I don't think that's shocking anyone. I think that's to be expected. Nick has commented, cherry plum, good, but the Tapachi is the bomb. It's the pineapple one. Yeah, it's the yellow one. That's one of my favorites as well. We didn't actually get that in the last shipment. I'm a bit disappointed with that. But look, I only asked for this set number here, so I can't really complain. Remedy do look after me. So yeah. All right, we'll keep moving. Let's go on to the next tweet. So next one up is, all right, Taylor Q wants to know Day and Scrimshaw, and what are your thoughts on these two in 2021? So let's have a look at Will Day first. Will Day, let's get him up here. Cool. And let's compare him to the defenders. And as you can see, he's tracking ahead, and I think that's to be expected by a lot of the listeners out there. So he had a good debut season. He played, 11 games in his first year, which is actually quite impressive. For a career average BCV of 74.5. So for a first-year player, you'd be pretty happy with that. We'll have a look at Jack Scrimshaw as well. So Scrimshaw here on the screen, and we'll compare him to the backs as well. So look at him; he's just ducking ahead of the top 10 defenders. Just take a quick look at his data, and I can actually think this will work. Just give me 2 seconds. yeah, we can have a look at his Breakout Tracker data here. So having a look at his, here we go. He played 27 so far. He's had 2 tons in that time as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, 62.9 is his career average. So yeah, he's a little bit behind, according to this, but yeah, he is tracking on the right path. So that's good to see with Jack Scrimshaw. All right, cool. We will move on to the next tweet here. And we got Lukosius and Basilenka. So let's have a look at Jack Lukosius. So many Jacks in this. Oops, that's Jack Silvani. My bad. Jack Lukosius. Just ducking ahead there, Jack Lukosius. So mainly due to the end of his season last year, so he'd be pretty happy. Well, our listeners would be pretty happy with that one. So, yeah, Jack Lukosius is on the right track. We'll have a look at Bailey Smith. And top 20 centres. So, as to be expected, he's tracking ahead of him. So, yeah, owners of Bailey Smith would be pretty happy with that one. We've got one in the comments here from Andrew Zanka. He wants to know about Jackson Hately. So we'll have a quick look at him before we move on. Jackson Hately against centres, tracking ahead, which is good as well. A lot of these BCV scores adjusted, but a lot of it's got to do probably with his start to his career as well. So that is a good sign for the Hately owners there. All right, we will move on here. Let's go with the next tweet. And that one is Dylan Stevens from Taylor Q. So another question for Taylor Q. We'll have a look at Dylan Stevens. So Dylan Stevens. And another one that is tracking ahead of the top 20 centres in the competition. So positive signs for him. Had a good first year and, yeah, playing on that role. He's a tackle machine, so he gets lots of stats there. So there you go, Jordan Hollett, Dylan Stevens tracking ahead there. Great start to his career. Obviously, these have been adjusted to BCV as well, so they're not accurate of his raw scores from last year. But yeah, when we adjust them to BCV and what they are this year, he is tracking quite nicely. So good to see. We'll move on. Oh, we got one more here. We got Braden Pruce in the chat. So this one's for the draft doctors. Steve Fizz will be happy with me looking up Braden Pruce. So we'll go with him with the Rucks. Just behind, and I think it's more due to the fact that he's playing more forward at Melbourne in the later stages of his career so far. I think given this year, sending him to GWS, he is those numbers are definitely going to go up, so I wouldn't be stressing too much, even if you've got Braden Priest there and you're not super happy with those numbers. Yeah, I reckon he's a pretty good one to go by. All right, we've got Dan in the chat here, wants to know who to keep as a rookie between Stevens, Luke Jackson, and Rosie. Well, we might as well have a look at them on the Breakout Tracker. So let's have a look at Connor Rosie first of all. Scroll down here, Connor Rosie, where are you? Let's compare him to the forwards first. And he's tracking ahead of the forwards, so he's not going too badly. Let's track him against the midfielders as well, because it's very likely he's going to be a midfielder going forward as well. So yeah, even if he does, play a lot more in the middle this year, and Orazio Fantasia, they're talking he'll come into play at forward and release him into the midfield. Good chance that he plays midfield and probably only gets midfield status from next year onwards. He's still a decent hold because he does track quite well compared to the rest of the midfielders at the same point in their careers anyway. Which for Rosie, how many games has he played now? I'll just look this up. Rosie. So he played 38 games, so yeah, he's still tracking pretty well in comparison there. So yeah, you'd be happy with Rosie. We'll look up Luke Jackson for you as well. Now, same deal with Jackson. We'll compare him to the forwards first because I believe he's listed as a forward this year. So he's a fair way behind, but he's not getting much of an opportunity with Max Gawn in there. But then we'll compare him to the Rucks. Still behind there as well. So he's got a bit of work to do. Really hasn't had a lot of opportunities to show his scoring potential so far. So yeah, we'll wait and see with him. But out of those three that you mentioned there, between Stevens, Luke Jackson and Rosie, Geez, that's tough. I'd lean towards Rosie just because of the forward status, but then again, he might not have it. Dylan Stevens after that, and then Luke Jackson after that would be my 3 to rank. Anyway, we'll move on to another tweet. And keep them coming in the comments because I'm more than them up. We've got Paddy F3 wants to know about James Rowbottom. So let's have a look at him. And I believe he is a mid only this year. I have to double check that one actually. Rowbottom. Yeah, mid only this year. Played 28 games. So he's tracking just behind the... Sorry, that's Rux. So between the midfielders, he is on with the top midfielders. So, yeah. He's not looking too badly, but yeah, he's dipping the wrong way. And I think he needs to get a little bit more, I guess, win a bit more footy in the middle, I think, and then go from there. So you'd hope this year with Sydney, with another year of development, I guess we're trying to develop the younger midfielders, he should trend the right way. But yeah, it's borderline. I'd hold the faith on James Rowbottom there. All right, we'll keep going. Got a couple more tweets to get through, and then we'll finish it up. So we got Sam Walsh and Jackson Haley. We've already looked at Haley, so let's just have a quick look at Sam Walsh. There. Yeah, man. As to be expected, absolutely smashing it. I don't really know why we even had to look him up, to be honest. But look, let's just have a look at his numbers because they are pretty impressive for Sam Walsh. So 39 games he's played. He's had a career average of 93.9. We adjust his BCV and all that from last year, put it in. So he's tracking 20 points ahead of the top midfielders at the same point in after their 39 games. So you'd be pretty happy with that, one would have thought. All right, let's move on to the last tweet I got here. Get in your last questions here before we get onto it. Dave and who's the other one? It is Caden. We've looked at both of those early in the stream. So once I've finished, head back and watch the replay, and you'll see, you'll see players. You'll see Cam Rayner and Connor Rosie on there as well. All right, I believe that might have even been your tweet there, Dave, that we looked at first on the stream. So go back and you'll see those ones. The last one, we've already looked at Haitley here, but we've got Nick Blakey and Isaac Quainer. So let's have a look here. All right, Isaac Quainer. Isaac Quainer against the Defenders. Cool. And not going too bad, Quainer. He's had a few decent games early on in his career. Let's just have a look at his numbers here when I get them up. Yeah, played 15 games, had the 1 BCV ton, career average of 63.7. So yeah, he's tracking all right if compared to the top 10 back. So he'd be happy with that. Owners would be happy with that one. All right, let's move on to what's the other one? Nick Blakey. I'm an owner of Nick Blakey at the moment as well. So yeah, I am interested to see this one. I haven't actually looked it up as well. So Nick Blakey, and we'll track him to the forwards. A little bit behind, had that slow start. Being a young key forward, it makes it tough to actually score well. But the positive sign is the move into the midfield, and the numbers are tracking in the right direction as well. So I don't know if he'll hit, the top 10 and ever, top 10 forward. Not anytime soon anyway. But yeah, I reckon there's definitely potential there. It depends on the role he plays. So if they end up using him as a key forward, which they might not with, I guess with Franklin in there now, he won't be around too long. But they picked up Logan, what's his face from Sydney? I can't remember his name. From Western Australia. They picked 4, whatever it was. Can't remember his name. But they've got him up forward as well at the moment. So actually, I'll just look it up here because I've got all the... Actually, no, it won't be there. Anyway, yeah, so they've got him as well. So it depends where he's played. If he's played on the wing or in the midfield, he looks all right. Tim English is the last one that people want me to look at. So Tim English, let's return to the rucks, and yeah, he's ahead of the rucks. So not too much to stress about there because his scoring's been quite good in the early stage of his career. More so worry about what he does with Stephen Martin this year. But we play keeper leagues, we play long term, and Stephen Martin's probably got 1-2 years max left in him, so don't stress too much if you are a Team English owner. It might affect him this season, but that's about it. Anyway, that is it. That's through all the tweets. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for commenting on the stream and going through some of those breakout numbers, breakout tracker numbers. If you are keen to get your hands on this, sign up as a member on the Keeper League podcast. That's at keeperleaguepod.com.au. Everything we make goes back into the pod to bring you great resources like this. So, if you're keen to grab, a copy of this or have a play around with it, jump on there and, have some fun. All right. Thanks for joining me this evening, and I will talk to you again soon. See ya.